بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل يا أيها الكافرون لا أعبد ما تعبدون ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد ولا أنتم عابدون ما عبدتم ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد لكم دينكم ولي دين صدق الله العلي العظيم. This is chapter 109 of the Holy Quran. It's a short chapter consisting of 6 verses. And its English translation is, say, O disbelievers, I serve not that which you serve, nor do you serve him whom I serve, nor shall I serve that which ye serve, nor do you serve him whom I serve. For you is your recompense, and for me is my recompense. I think it was in August that I gave a khutbah, and this was commenting on a YouTube video that I saw about, and its title was Why Muslims Are Leaving Islam. And I made a list of 6 reasons from that. And although some Fridays I spoke on other topics, but I tried to cover each objection. And basically the list consisted of 6. And we covered 3 in detail in earlier khutbahs. And the 2 that I want to deal with today are intolerance of other religions and intolerance of apostates. Basically, this has been covered in the khutbah that I gave about human rights in Islam. But I specifically deal with this here. And then that will leave these 2 objections here. And that will leave the last one, which is gender inequality. I refer to 2 chapters of the Holy Quran. At the beginning, I have recited one. And then in Al-Baqarah, verse number 256 says, there is no compulsion in religion. The right way is indeed clearly distinct from error. So whoever disbelieves in the devil and believes in Allah, he indeed lays hold on the firmest handle which shall never break, and Allah is hearing and knowing. Now, where is disrespect for anyone, for any religion? Indeed, even those Muslims who leave Islam may become atheists, may become followers of some other religion. It clearly says there is no compulsion in religion. The right way and the wrong way are distinct. You know, if you go to school and your teacher is teaching you mathematics, and you he tells you that 3 times 2 is 6, and you insist on saying 3 times 2 is 7, there is not a lot that your teacher can do about that. You know, carry on believing the wrong thing. It is up to you. You are the one who will suffer. Or if you turn to this chapter of the Holy Quran, say, O disbelievers, I do not serve what you serve, nor do you serve whom I serve, nor shall I serve what you serve, nor do you serve whom I serve. For you is your recompense, and for me is my recompense. Now, Before turning to this chapter, I want to say one thing. Some people say, well, the Holy Quran says that people who are not Muslims will be punished, etc., in the hereafter and so on. But the thing is this, if your teacher says to you, well, if in your exam you got a question which says, if you buy 2 apples for £3 each, what is the total? And you write down the answer as 7, you will fail. Is the teacher humiliating that student in any way? What is the teacher doing? The teacher is simply giving that student the consequences of continuing to believe the wrong thing. That student will fail that exam. What do you expect the teacher to say? Islam is supposed to develop us spiritually, morally, and so on for this life, physically, and prepare our souls for the hereafter. You know, this morning I got an email from a health organization that I belong to, and it said, if you want a healthy heart, do this. Exercise. Eat this. Don't eat this. If you don't do these things, you're likely to suffer from heart problems. What is that organization doing? Simply making a statement of fact. If you do this, your heart is going to be fine. If you don't do this, then your heart is not going to be fine. Are they threatening me with fire and brimstone? Are they saying, you know, are they making me fearful by saying I will suffer, my heart will become weak, I might have other problems, etc.? It is their duty simply to say, if you do this, your heart will be fine. If you don't do this, your heart will not be fine. And that is all that the Holy Quran does. It says, if you do these things, then in the hereafter, you will have a healthy soul. If you don't do these things, then in the hereafter, your soul will be sick and it will need to be treated. How is that any different from this email that I received from this health charity this morning? What is the difference? Well, let's start with this. Let's go back to this chapter, Al-Kafirun, and it starts with, O you Kafirun. And this has somehow become a term of abuse. It's not a term of abuse. It simply Arabic is root based, and its root is kafara, which means to hide something. It's not abuse, it's nothing like that. Not a term of hatred. If people choose to make it a term of hatred, and I think before going any further, I will say this. Perhaps I should have started with this, that we need to distinguish between the attitude of the Muslims and the teachings of the Holy Quran and the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yes, I agree that Muslims have this superiority complex. Yes, they treat members of other religions and so on with utter disrespect and so on. And we see this all over the world. There's no point in denying the truth and saying it doesn't happen. We see this happening in many countries. I've seen this happen in the country from which my parents came, where a non-Muslim is not allowed to touch even the bag that contains food that a Muslim may consume. And yet the same Muslims come to the UK and go to Asda and Tesco and so on and do their shopping there and buy groceries. Do they make it a condition to make sure that, they have some sort of fingerprinting available to make sure that only Muslims have touched those packets of biscuits or whatever that are on the shelves that they're buying? Anyway, let's get back to kafirun. The root of the word kafirun is kafara, as I said, and basically means to hide something. And from this basic meaning, we extrapolate and we use it to deny, to reject, to disbelieve, to be ungrateful. Because if you're being ungrateful, what are you doing? Someone has done you a favor, and you're trying to hide that favor. This means that a kafir is one who, after hearing and perhaps even understanding the truth, still continues to deny it. And that's an important point to remember, that there is a difference even between non-Muslims and kafirs. There may be people somewhere in the world, I don't know, Eskimos on the North Pole, or people in some rural part of China who've not heard of Muslims and Islam and so on. So although they may be non-Muslims, they are not kafirs. Kafir is the one who knows about Islam and continues to deny it. So there are two ways of doing this. First, you remain in your religion even after learning about Islam. And the second is that for some reason you leave Islam. But here, the Holy Quran doesn't differentiate between the two. It treats them as one. And what does it say? O you who disbelieve, I won't serve whom you serve, and you don't want to serve whom I serve. Well, isn't that just a statement of truth? That these people serve something that the Holy Prophet does not serve and is not prepared to serve. And they are not prepared to serve the entity, the being that the Holy Prophet serves. And it's basically saying, you can't convince me and I can't convince you. And then what will happen? What should be done? Does it hurl abuse at anyone or anything? There are many ways of translating the last word. And the word deen has been translated as recompense by Hazrat Maulana Muhammad Ali Rahmatullah Alayh. But Muslims say deen means a way of life. So it can mean religion, it can mean recompense, it can mean judgment, it can mean worship, etc. And it's used in all those meanings in the Holy Quran. And so you can translate the last verse as, for you, your religion, and for me, my religion. What is the Holy Quran doing? Leaving it to God to judge. Elsewhere, the Holy Quran tells the Holy Prophet, your duty is to deliver the message, you've done that. Now, don't grieve that they don't believe. You go to a doctor. I went to a doctor, and the doctor said, well, you must take more exercise. Otherwise, you'll get diabetes and high blood pressure and so on. I didn't listen to him. And what happened? What the doctor said. He was just warning me. I didn't listen to him. And the doctor would say, well, okay, for you, the way you live, and for me, the way I live. I continued to live the way I did and suffered the consequences. And this is how you can extend this to cover many new issues that are coming up. People ask questions about LGBT and all this kind of thing. No religion approves of these things. No religion approves of these things, and that includes Islam. And Islam is saying, well, we've explained to you the consequences of behaving in this way, but if you're not going to listen, for you, your way of life, and for us, our way of life. But do not expect us to condone and approve of what you do. And that is what I object to. That we are told that we must approve of these things. Well, when our religion says they're wrong, we cannot approve of them. But that does not mean to say that we harass and persecute such people, etc. But to go back to the Holy Quran and talking to people, and whether it says that we should disrespect other religions or people who disagree with the Muslims and Holy Quran, in An-Nahl, verse 125 of that chapter, the Holy Quran says, call to the way of your Lord with wisdom and goodly exhortation, and argue with them in the best manner possible. Your Lord knows best him who strays from his path, and he knows best those who go aright. Where is disrespect in that? Call to the way of your Lord with wisdom and goodly exhortation. This applies to everyone. This applies to people who are not Muslims, and this applies to people who are Muslims but may have left or may be thinking of leaving Islam for some reason. It's a general statement. It doesn't say these people you invite back to the right path nicely, and these you harangue and insult and so on. In another place, the Holy Quran says that if you're discussing, if you're in a group and a conversation is taking place and it's making you angry, and if you think it's going to lead to anger and fighting and intemperate conversation, leave. It doesn't say, answer back and all this kind of thing. It just says leave. And wait until the conversation moves to some other topic. And then if you want to go back and join. But as I was saying, verse 125 of An-Nahl specifically makes it a duty of every Muslim to treat those of different points of view with respect. And specifically about people of the book. Now, these are generally regarded as Jews and Christians, but I would suggest that most people of this world receive divine revelation, and most of them come under the heading of the people of the book. But even if you take a restrictive meaning of the people of the book, Surah Al-Ankabut says, this is chapter 29, verse 46, do not argue with the people of the book except by what is best, save such of them as act unjustly. So talk to them by what is best, save such of them as act unjustly. Obviously, if one of them punches you on the nose, then you may want to retaliate in some manner to defend yourself. But say, we believe in what has been revealed to us and revealed to you, and our God and your God is one, and to him we submit. And I repeat that. We believe in what has been revealed to us and what has been revealed to you. And our God and your God is one God, and to him we submit. People say, Muslim God and Christian God and Jewish God and so on. But here it says, everyone's God is one. And everyone should submit to Allah. And so I have picked a few verses of the Holy Quran just to show you that throughout the Holy Quran asks us to deal respectfully with all those who disagree with us. And I agree that sadly this is lacking. This is lacking amongst the Muslims. And they think it's some kind of great achievement to make people subservient or to humiliate them or to abuse them and so on. But this is not Quranic teaching. It is, in fact, against the teachings of the Holy Quran. And as I say at the end of each one of these khutbahs about people leaving Islam, that these people said they went to their ulama and they went to their elders and so on and put these objections to them, and they could not answer the objection. They just said, believe. That's all you're required to do, without understanding, no understanding, nothing, just believe. And that is why they left Islam. So I cannot understand why these people said just believe. And I have to emphasize, this is why the Lahore Ahmadiyya movement is needed all over the world in this day and age, and for future generations and times to come, to try and bring humanity together and say to them, we believe this because we believe it to be correct. But even if you disagree with us, we still respect you and we are with you. And if we can do something for you to help, we will do that. Barakallahu lana wa lakum fil Qur'anil Azim wa nafa'ana wa iyyakum bil ayati wa zikril hakim innahu ta'ala jawadun kareemun malikun barraufur rahim. Alhamdulillah, nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa nu'minu bihi wa natawakkalu alayhi wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlilhu fala hadiya lahu wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم انصر من نصر دين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم واجعلنا منهم واقتل من خذل دين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ولا تجعلنا منهم. عباد الله رحمكم الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. لإيلاف قريش إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده ربنا. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin. Qul ya ayyuhal kafirun la a'budu ma ta'budun wala antum 'abiduna ma a'bud wala ana 'abidun ma 'abadtum wala antum 'abiduna ma a'bud lakum dinukum waliyadin. Allahu Akbar. Sami Allahu liman hamidah. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Assalamualaikum warahmatullah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullah. Astaghfirullah. Thank you for joining us for today's Friday service. At the beginning, I should have apologized for not being able to bring you the service last week due to some difficulties we had where we were. So our apologies for that. And inshallah, we'll see you next week. In the meantime, I pray that whoever you are and wherever you may be, may Allah keep the whole of humanity, regardless of their creed, color, religion, sect, in His protection and save them from harm and difficulty. Assalamu alaikum, Khuda Hafiz, and